Peace.
Hey,
So this is Yankee Stadium, right? This is the new Yankee Stadium that opened up in 2009. And I'm not here to show you Yankee Stadium. I'm here to show you what used to be Macomb's Dam Park, right here on 161 and River Ave in the Bronx. So the old Yankee Stadium was right here, what I'm looking at. In fact, they got the home plate still in that field, which is now like a little softball court with a softball field. Right, so this is 161 East 161st. And this way up the block is Grand Concourse. Probably y'all heard of that. That's McDonald's. So this is the new Yankee Stadium. You know what I'm saying? And for the record, I'm Zulu King L1, Zulu, chapter 25. Saying, and the reason why I'm showing you this is because right here was a huge playground that actually still exists, like the other end of it, but I think they renamed it. It's no longer the Macomb's Dam Park. But as far as Zulu goes, it was the home training area of Shaka Zulu, right? So Shaka Zulu is like the police force, the security force, um, of the Universal Zulu Nation, still exists in the Universal Zulu Nation to a degree, but I think they moving with Zulu Warrior security. That's what mainly they call them, security now. Peace to them. Peace to them brothers, right? Shaka Zulu used to train at this park, which used to be right here, you know what I'm saying, what is now iconic Yankee Stadium is. Even the new Yankee Stadium is beautiful. Been there a lot of times. But man, got some games and all. But if I get quiet for a moment, it's because the BD and the 4 train is above ground. So the train is, right here. So over here, right, in reference to Zulu, when we were younger, in high school and just going into college for some of us, or maybe just, getting into the workforce, we would come pretty much every other Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock, and come train here with Zulu King Tafiq, also known as Lord Tafiq, who was the co-captain of Shaka Zulu, right? And he was in charge with teaching brothers martial arts. He would have all of us doing physical drills, also learning jujitsu, Greco-Roman wrestling, extraction techniques. He would put us through like military drills. You know what I'm saying? He would have us doing physical stuff as far as like running around the track, because this used to be a big track. Still Yankee Stadium, of course, it's humongous. You know what I'm saying? Um, so we would park up over here, meet up. We would start with like a warm up, stretching, you know what I'm saying? And then we would probably do maybe a couple laps around the track, right? We had the big track. So while we were doing the track, he would come through while we running, and he would like attack us with a weapon, like a stick. You know what I'm saying? And we would have to block it while we were running. Maintain our pace. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let this car pass. So it's so we would we would be running around the track, and he'd hit us with a stick and we'd have to block it, using the martial arts techniques, which we call tasabaki. And we would use those techniques to block it. And then after probably like 4 laps, like a mile around that track, and this is the remainder of the park that we're pulling up to, you know what I'm saying? So mind you, like the park was huge and it still is big, you know what I'm saying? But we used to be here, like 20 of us on a good day, sometimes less, but always, a formidable group of young Shaka Zulu brothers, you know what I'm saying? And then we would run around that track, and then we would go into our form, like Tasabaki, you know what I'm saying? And we would have to, maintain, like show good form with the Tasabaki. You know what I'm saying? So this is what the park looked like. It had this whole gate. It looked exactly like this. You know what I'm saying? And we would just basically like do that Tasabaki 1 through 10, right? Demonstrate that and show proficiency. And then from there, what he would do was he used to have us basically like go to crouch, like go down, right? And then he would have us go back to back, and he would be like, yo, 1, 2, 3, he would count down, and then from there, we'd have to turn around and wrestle our opponent into submission. You know what I'm saying? So he would have us wrestle into submission to see who would tap out first. You know what I mean? And this is where brothers was really getting sharp with the grappling. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? So what's it called now? So this is, I guess they renamed it, or this is the other end of it. You know what I'm saying? Reverend C. Wendell Foster Park. So this is like the other end of it. But all this was, I believe, Macomb's damn park. And so he would have brothers wrestling, grappling. You know what I'm saying? He would have us doing pull-ups. He would also have us on the pull-up bar, hanging to see like who could hold formation while he would, like throw jabs and hooks into our bellies to make sure we was firm, you know what I'm saying? Making sure we were solid. You know what I mean? And man, I remember one of the brothers, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna name him, but he was getting cracked so crazy with the punches while he was hanging from the joint. It was like something like this right here, like this corner right here, and like there was like a pole there, and he was hanging doing pull-ups, and he was wailing on the brother, you know what I'm saying, and then he just got nauseous and threw up, and they used to be big, real bigger bleachers down here where we would train the Shaka Zulus at. So sometimes some of the brothers that, you know what I'm saying, weren't Shaka Zulu would watch on and eventually like participate and, enroll in Shaka Zulu training. But it was a special time for me because like, I learned so much, you know what I'm saying, on how to be disciplined, you know what I'm saying? How to be disciplined and how to really like, I always felt like I could fight, you know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't necessarily like to look for trouble, but I was always down to defend myself. He wasn't going to do nothing on me and get away with it. So this just like really like made me into more like an aggressive person, you know what I'm saying, to a degree, because I'm training with brothers that's formidable to say the least, you know what I'm saying? Like brothers is really solid, you know what I mean? Like downright dangerous, you know what I mean? And we would also train with like nunchucks, batons, all types of fake weapons. See, they got a pool here and all of that. I don't know if that ever existed previously, you know what I'm saying? But this here is Jerome coming up. That where the cars is passing, that's Jerome. So it's a nice park, you know what I'm saying? Sort of playground, sort of skate park, all of that. It's a really nice spot. I mean, just I think they maintain it well. But I was just driving through here, and I just I just feel nostalgic. You know what I'm saying? Because I have so much memories of coming here for a few years, and in fact, um, one of the stories, no lie, this is right after the World Trade Center um attack on 9/11. So it was 2001, and it was like a week or two after, or right when they resumed baseball, because like they had stopped. like baseball, a few games were suspended due to the terrorist attacks on 9/11. And kind of this is the sign that I always see here, and just it's like RBG'd up, and it's like, yo, to me it always thinks like, yeah, this is where the Zulus was at. You know what I mean? But just like going up here when we were training, and it's like 20 of us, and we were doing this drill. We were in push-up formation, like all of us, right? So let's say it's like 20 brothers lined up, shoulder to shoulder in push-up formation on our knuckles. And now one brother would have to crawl like a snake, like slither, like military style, underneath that bridge of all the brothers, slide through, you know what I'm saying? And then I think we had to go on our back and then reverse it and slide through, you know what I'm saying? And, the main part, like crawling underneath brothers wasn't really the challenge. It was the brothers in the bridge that had to maintain in push-up formation. You know what I'm saying? And just the techniques and the discipline. And at times, you know what I'm saying, we would joke because we were young and immature. Peace to Zulu King Red. He used to make not a mockery, but he would joke around a little bit too much. And he used to get brothers violated. You know what I'm saying? We would have to like face violation. You know what I'm saying? Like if you was, like joking around or whatever, you'd have to like face violation and wind up doing an extra 25 push-ups or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But when we were doing those drills, right, we had the fake weapons out and all of that. We had the fake weapons out and we were doing those drills. Yo, no lie, like, cause that was like one of the first games that resumed on that Saturday by the Major League Baseball, the Yankees, and the police was watching us from afar, and they was just like really like wouldn't take their eyes off of us, and they came over and they're like, "Yo, who are y'all?" Right? They was like 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? They was like a little bit on edge. They were like, "Who are y'all?" We the Universal Zulu Nation. And he was like, "Yeah, I thought you guys were the Taliban or Al Qaeda." You know what I'm saying? And we kind of laughed a little bit. It's like, yo, that's crazy. Like, as we, due to the circumstances, we looking at all these people, you know what I'm saying? Thinking crazy things. And they was looking at us just watching on form, you know what I'm saying? And just watching to see how we move. And no lie, like those next few Saturdays, whenever there were games that would fall on that, they was always watching us, you know what I'm saying? And it was just a time, man, that, I love because I forged a bond with the brothers. I already had a bond with the brothers, but, going through bleeding and sweating and damn near in tears, man, because of the physical labor, you know what I'm saying, the intensity, it really pushed us to be on our square, you know what I'm saying? As far as Shaka Zulu was, when we had meetings, anniversaries, we was always searching brothers and sisters. The sisters would search the sisters, we would search brothers. And we felt, man, like those meetings and those events that the Zulus were holding at that time, which was very frequent, was secure because we was on the front line protecting the brothers and the sisters from harm. You know what I'm saying? And that meant a lot to me that, you know what I'm saying, me and my brothers was willing to give our lives for the nation at the time, and still are to a degree. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to die like a fool, but I'll die for the cause if need be. You know what I'm saying? But may Allah protect me and guide me always, and my brothers. I just, it's hard for me to cope with just, the everyday work grind and adulthood, parenthood, the bills, knowing that life was so carefree at one time and we had so much fun and we were so militant and so on point with everything. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to tell that little brief story. You know, I'll just add this in closing. This wasn't the only place that we used to train at. We used to also train um, at the Harlem YMCA. I think it was on 135th. I forgot what avenue it was on, but we used to train there in the dojo. We used to train there. We used to go to certain different grandmasters' homes throughout the Bronx or Harlem and train with some of the original brothers that did the 52 block. You know what I'm saying? And then we would also train at Marcus Garvey Park on 125th Street. So those were some of the spots that we would train Shaka Zulu at with the brothers. You know what I'm saying? And we took it serious, man. And you know, for the future generations and the Zulus that are, you know what I'm saying, younger than me, just know, man, we put it on the line like on a weekly and daily basis, man. And I could only hope and pray that y'all take it that serious as we did and strive to like not emulate it, but make it better. But just, you know, continue to feel like the bond, you know, secure and solidify the bond and keep militant and keep training and keep physical. You know what I'm saying? Like that's super important. Super important for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So again, we on 161, actually 165th now, River in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to tell you and show you like where we would train the Shaka Zulus at. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope that you subscribe to, you know what I'm saying, like Spears and Mike's our hip hop podcast where we talk hip hop culture, knowledge, and the streets. You know, salute to these young brothers here on the bicycles and all of that. Having fun, man. There's a lot of positive things that you're doing. I support it. Peace and love to all.